What's going on, gamers, tech enthusiasts, PlayStation lovers, just gaming lovers in general, people who like seeing results, fanboy, war lovers, people get all into that stuff, it's whatever. But this is crazy. Here we have it again, guys. It's like game number 9 or 10, and I'll name them for you. That PSSR is having issues again. We know Capcom are god tier developers. They optimize very well. You have a lot of people trying to blame developers. I wish I could just highlight some of these comments I would show you guys in my videos, but I want to focus on this. But you know it's there. You know how PlayStation fanboys are. They can't just accept hard reality. They'll go on sites like Info-G and other sites, and people are posting nothing but facts, and they're all downvoted. And then you can post nonsense that makes something look good, and they're all upvoted, though none of it's good. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to waste my time with you. But let's get some games named here. God of War Ragnarok. Alan Wake 2, Silent Hill 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, right? Let's add in Dragon's Dogma 2 to the list, right? Star Wars Jedi, Star Wars Outlaws, Gran Turismo 7. Man, that's like 9 games. I think I'm missing a game here. It'll come up somehow, but all in all, we're pretty much at 9 to 10 games here that are having issues. So far that they have tested, there is more. And if you don't believe me on that, this is here showing that PSR had issues on Call of Duty. And then even on this PSR thread where this dude was like, PSSR launches a disgrace, he was putting a couple games that we already know that are there, right? High-profile games like Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, Jedi Survivor, Alan Wake 2, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, and I name a few other ones with you guys. So here in this video, we're going to see what issues is having again. It's similar issues, and I'm trying to tell people that it's Sony's system. So if you want to get in your fanboy feelings and get mad and come on my channel and attack me, oh yeah, come on, the comments are open, because man, I got some nasty comments, and I think it's actually funny because it just shows that they just can't handle honest results. That's all we're doing here. And they try to say that some people are PC fanboys, and it's like, dude, no, it's people that are actually giving you honest results. If not, then you morons would fall for that, get scammed, over defend Sony, attack people. They would try to tell you the truth, but with honest results and math, ain't no arguing. Either you accept it or you go against honest results. And it says a lot about people that do this, right? So this is why I want to get this out of the way. Because as far as I'm concerned, the PS5 Pro is overpriced. It should be $599. PSSR is in beta, and it is a AI upscaling GPU system that's in beta. It's not a full AI upscale, and I'm going to do a video on explaining what that really means and how it's not a full-fledged AI system like DLSS, XESS, FSR, and TSR, and that it takes a 5th place, and that with AMD coming out with 4.0, they're going to blow it off the map. And I'm going to explain why that's not going to be possible in my next video that I'm going to be launching tomorrow. So you guys get ready for that, because that's going to be a crazy one. It's going to tell you a lot of things that you just don't know, and why you're going to realize why this is happening, besides the blurring, But now we're not blaming developers. It's Sony's fault, and it's their arrogance of trying to launch this system and trying to act that way and convincing people and pricing at that price. And forcing the 2 terabyte SSD on you. But anyhow, let's get into this. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think.
Dragon's Dogma 2 has seen its fair share of tweaks and improvements since launch, but none so drastic as the one afforded by PlayStation 5 Pro. On the one hand, it utilizes PS5 Pro's PSSR upscaling to generate a cleaner, crisper picture, while on the other, there's a major performance boost over the base PS5. The bottom line is, for those chasing a locked 60 frames per second experience, PS5 Pro now offers a way to do so. Except there's a few caveats, a few quid pro quos to go with this. Sadly, and as with several other PS5 Pro patched games we've seen early on, Dragon's Dogma 2's use of PSSR has a few side effects. To be blunt, image quality suffers from extra breakup on fine elements.
So we see this problem in almost so many games now, and you have people trying to blame the developers like they don't know what they're doing, whereas when they use the other upscaling systems, it doesn't exist. It's a problem on Sony's end. Shut up and don't ever say anything again, because don't dare you try to attack Capcom. I mean, we've seen it in so many first-party games. It is not the developer's problem. It is a problem with Sony's PSSR system. I don't know how many times I need to explain this to people. So there we have it. Now, when you just see like natural performance increases, of course it's going to happen with a GPU upgrade, right? And a little bit of tweaks to the RAM and a little 10% boosted CPU. So of course that's just natural. You're going to get performance upgrades, which is good. There's nothing wrong with that. No, this is about PSSR and them trying to sell the system with that.
While the game's ray-traced global illumination also suffers from extra flickering and noise. So then, between all three graphics modes offered on PS5 Pro, which one ultimately gets us to the 60 FPS target? And which one bears the fewest of these distractions? To the comparisons first. Booting the game up, PS5 Pro owners are greeted to a more fleshed out graphics menu. At the top there's a new mode added to PS5 Pro called the Balanced mode, which sits in between the performance and graphics modes already present on the base PS5. In side-by-side comparison, all three offer matching quality settings in terms of textures, shadows, and draw distance for foliage. However, the key difference is in each mode's internal resolution targets. So, Performance mode renders natively at 720p, Balanced mode runs at 1080p, and finally, the Quality mode runs at a much higher 1440p. All are reconstructed.
So you're not going to get no native 4K like people were thinking. Like, I don't know how many times I need to tell people this. It's very demanding to do that. There's no way in hell they can even come close to doing that. PS6 will probably be something that can do that for this. But obviously PCs right now can do that easily. But the point is that now people are getting the idea. It's not 4K 60 and you ain't even running on like ultra settings, right? You maybe got some on high and then a lot on medium.
To a 4K target using PSSR, except creating a convincing 4K image benefits from more pixels per frame, and so, notably, the 720p performance mode does have issues resolving a flicker-free, temporally stable result. More on that in a second.
Yeah, we could see that on the right.
Looping back to the graphics menu, we keep individual toggles for motion blur and the frame rate target. This latter option works just as on base PS5. There's a 30 FPS cap and a so-called variable option, unlocking the frame rate to either 60Hz or 120Hz depending on your display. The 30 FPS option is still not recommended on PS5 Pro though, due to its ongoing issues with uneven frame pacing, resulting in choppy motion.
I don't know why they
Frankly,
would do that.
It seems a waste of GPU horsepower to lock it at 30 as well, given the console's improved prospects at 60 frames per second. Rounding out, there is once again a ray tracing toggle in the menus enabling RTGI. Now, RTGI has a huge impact to Dragon's Dogma 2's darkened areas, creating thicker shade and more realistic light bounce. On PS5 Pro, RTGI is enabled by default.
So if you guys look at this stuff, right, you can see all the fuzz and stuff, like it happens a lot.
On the balanced and graphics modes, but performance mode keeps it disabled. The curious twist here is that, unlike on base PS5, it's actually possible to toggle ray tracing on and off on all modes, including the performance mode, which means you have more scope to customize. For the purposes of testing today though, I've kept the ray tracing behavior at default setting for each mode. So, what are the Pro upgrades then? Let's compare the graphics modes first for the top tier visual experience on console. Compared to the base PS5, there's a change in resolution and upscaler of course. PS5 Pro's graphics mode runs at a native 1440p with a PSSR upscale, which all round is a pretty big change from the 4K checkerboard approach on base PS5's equivalent graphics mode. On paper, in rendering a 1920 by 2160 image, the base PS5 technically pushes more pixels per frame than PS5 Pro, but ultimately, PSSR's benefits as an upscaler overcome that deficit. The result is, PS5 Pro generates a visibly crisper image overall, with more definition resolved in distant trees and mountains during its opening flyover sequence. Also, swapping to the performance mode on each, it's a similar story. PS5 Pro runs at just 720p with a PSSR upscale, which is an even larger cutback in pixels pushed from the checkerboard 1536 by 1728 image on base PS5. Again, there's a boost in sharpness, in clarity, with the PS5 Pro upscale via PSSR, even from a 720p base. But as mentioned, there are also more consequences in image breakup there.
Yeah, we see it right there. Because of
Speaking
PSSR.
on that image breakup issue on PS5 Pro, this affects the game in two key ways. Firstly, there's fine detailed elements like foliage, rooftop tiles, and wood bridges, which all show more pixelation on PS5 Pro as a result of the current implementation of PSSR. Even on the graphics mode, rendering at a native 1440p, you'll still spot breakup on grass, for example. Everywhere you might look, grass tufts manifest as a kind of blurry smudge as they sway in the wind. And worse still, at a distance, the grass blades also pixelate as PSSR struggles to interpret their movement. The reconstruction to 4K is flawed here, though at least...
So you see, it would be better to turn it off and just use FSR or TSR or XESS. It's too flawed, you know what I mean? And we're gonna, like I said, I'm gonna make another video and show you guys the huge differences between that and the actual real AI upscale systems that have fully integrated systems in them that do not exist on the PlayStation 5 Pro that Sony should have told people about.
Most other fine elements like hair do actually resolve correctly. The other downside is PSSR's effect on the game's ray tracing. Again, using the graphics mode as an example, with RTGI engaged, you'll notice the shade underneath grass shimmering as we approach an enclosed woodland space. Also, interiors show added noise on the RTGI effect on PS5 Pro, notably around the doorway to this inn. Note how any camera movement or occlusion from a character triggers a brief bout of noise on the affected area on PS5 Pro. Whereas if we switch over to the base PS5, the shading from RTGI is much more stable. Unfortunately, all of these issues are exaggerated on the performance mode. Comparing PS5 to PS5 Pro, the pixelation issue on animating grass is far more pronounced, creating a constant flicker as you walk through any woodland spot. At a native 720p, there's simply too much sub-pixel detail on grass blades for PSSR to stand a chance of resolving them accurately, and it often creates this distracting visual noise instead. Next, there's problem number 2 in this mode, the ambient occlusion. Ray tracing is disabled by default on performance mode of course, and I've kept that in place for PS5 Pro here. However, it appears once again, PSSR does not blend well with even the game's rasterized ambient occlusion setting. The result being that ambient shade on PS5 Pro flickers in motion around interiors, which was never an issue for the base console, and again, it's likely that PSSR is the differentiating factor that's causing it.
He didn't say developers, no, he said Sony system. See, Mark Cerny is not this genius like you think he is. He's still learning. He has a lot to go, along with other people, to realize things to work good.
Outside of these major differences in image quality, visual settings are broadly unchanged on PS5 Pro. The RE Engine's screen space reflection method is kept in place on Pro hardware for large water bodies. Grass LODs are also identical in this run across the orchard outside the city gates, with a matching cascade range for shadows as well. Also, NPC draw distances around the...
So if you guys want to see the rest of this, I mean, this is just, after this, it's just PS5 Pro improvements. Which they're noticeable and they're nice, you know what I mean? That's what you would expect. But this is kind of like, once again, to highlight, like, PSSR is a problem and it has issues. And it's on Sony's end. Point blank, period. You didn't see this with 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. No, this is now 9 or 10 games now. And Epic was smart to not release it. I said, no, we're using TSR instead. It's even better for Unreal Engine 5. So what do the fanboys have to say now that have been, you know, in their feelings, attacking, coming in? Like I said, come again, even after this, and tell me what you have to say. You don't have anything to say. You just want to come be ignorant and get in your feelings and defend a corporation that took your money and brainwashes you. Yeah, you know. But I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. All right, y'all. Peace out. Glad to do this.